first. And you idiot, if you're not watching Southern Comic Geek. You hear that, Stimpy? Yeah, I heard it. I'm a Northern Comic Geek.
What's up, folks? Southern Comic Geek coming to you with another review, mortem, post-show review, whatever you want to call it. But nevertheless, before we get into all of this comic book madness, go ahead and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification. So when videos like this one go up ever so randomly, you were one of the first people to know and can make the conscious decision as to whether or not to watch it now or later. As long as you watch it, we appreciate you. Appreciate you so much that at the start of the show, we're going to go ahead and give you some freebies. How about that? So for all your collectible protection needs, whether they are comic books, cards, records, etc., you can visit bcwsupplies.com and use the coupon code SCG to save yourself some change, 10% to be exact, on your order. bcwsupplies.com. Use the coupon code SCG to save yourself some money on that order. And if you're like me and you like some good coffee to go with your comics, you can visit comicsoncoffee.com. Use the coupon code SCG there and save 15% on your order. And both places normally have discounts for free shipping if you order so much. And so remember that. And if you forget all that, as far as the links go, the Linktree link to all of the platforms that I'm on is in the description below. So today I am not alone. I'm not talking about the other voices inside of my head, but another Southern guy. Who Dat Comics? What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Like you said, smash that thumbs up button. I am here to talk GalaxyCon, like you said, post-mortem.
Well, you know, the funny thing is with GalaxyCon, I don't even remember, maybe IG or somebody had suggested it to me, and I was like, wait a minute, what, GalaxyCon in New Orleans? Because normally it's, you know, the old Wizard World Fan Expo is the big show. So were you kind of surprised to see a GalaxyCon show up in New Orleans?
I was very surprised, but when you told me more back end stuff about the GalaxyCon, it made sense, because a lot of people don't know this, and the only reason I know because my wife works in the hotel industry is Wizard World New Orleans was actually the second best financially Wizard World that they've had. That's why Fan Expo keeps coming back. So I was a little surprised, at first, but when I found out who it was, I said, oh, it makes sense. He wants to get back on that horse of, what used to be a successful, because the price cost of stuff is a lot cheaper compared to northern states. Hotels, especially in certain times of the period, could be lower. So that doesn't surprise me. But when I saw how spread out GalaxyCon was, I was like, they're coming here. And like you said, I didn't even know nothing about it till I got like a advertisement. It was like, hey, GalaxyCon's coming to New Orleans. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise, because for a first year, it seemed like they had a pretty good lineup as far as creators go.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are into the whole cosplay and movie thing, and that's fine. They can do their thing. But as it relates to comic guys, I mean, they had some names that I normally don't see, at what I would refer to as smaller shows, down here in the South. So what did you think about the lineup?
Like you said, he had Asad Ribic. I was surprised. I was like, it's like a European guy. Like, and they got San Diego. Like, what is he doing? Like, so him, and when I saw him and Jock, I was more surprised about those two names. And maybe a couple others, but I was really surprised by those two names, knowing that where they're from, to come to New Orleans. And New Orleans is actually it's been rated as one of the top tourist cities in the U.S. So that aspect doesn't surprise me. It's just that when you incorporate the con of that, which is kind of weird, like the con and the tourism, you should figure out a way to combine it, because New Orleans is always in the top 3. I think this year it was top number 1 as best, tourist spot in the U.S. So it's like they need to figure that out, because it's people come here and visit, New Orleans area, and but I was still shocked to see like certain names here that I probably They don't go to Heroes. They don't go. You know, they don't go.
Right.
You see European people, you're like, oh, okay, all right.
Well, and yeah, like you said, if to me, because to the draw to a creator that may not be wanting to come to the South would be, okay, everybody wants to go to New Orleans, you know, so you got a big airport, so you know, in and outs, you know, pretty easily. So you got a town that most people say, hey, I at least want to visit one time.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a nightlife for the creators that come here. So I think all the ingredients are there. It's just all about putting it all together where it actually makes sense.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I said something about New Orleans, and look at this guy show up.
I don't even know what part of the country he's in right now.
Right. But no, as far as you know, we were talking about this before we went live, and the show was very well laid out, at least in my estimation. A lot of wide aisles. Now, you know, what is it? If it was more visited, it might not have been as wide as what it just felt like, you know, with us there that day. But I was able to go up to every creator that I wanted to go up, and I didn't stand in a single line. So did you get a lot of stuff? You get anything signed or anything?
I did. Well, I got one thing signed. That's because like I said, this con really caught me off guard, and I wasn't prepared for it because of Heroes. I'm still recovering from Heroes Con. So if I knew about this con probably before Heroes, I would have probably made it. It'd been a tough decision, because especially what I know now of not having any lines of what I could have probably got accomplished and the original art that we saw there in GalaxyCon. I was like, it would have, if I know now what I know, I'd have probably skipped Heroes. I hate to say that, just because I could have spent, I'd have spent some money in GalaxyCon, but I'd have came out with a haul like crazy. My sketchbook would have been probably half full because I'd have went to every person from Friday to all the way to Sunday to get something done, because I could have done that because they weren't busy. I mean, Assad was doing random drawings, I think probably for San Diego. That's preparing for San Diego. He's doing random paintings. So yeah, that's all I can say. But yeah, I love the layout. The layout was actually really good. I was surprised on how the layout, and it was very maneuverable. But like you said, is that because it wasn't that full, or was it really laid out good? But yeah, you could see where everything was at. Like I knew, artists are this way, merch is this way. So their signs were accurate. Nothing against Heroes on that one, because it's kind of like when they had a sign, he's like, all right, I'm in the area. Yeah, because it's so big. Like, I'm in the area, so I either got to go up or I got to go down. and it's 50-50. If you chose the wrong way, you're going to be mad because you got to walk all the way back.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure. So I think that they have like the big infrastructure, which GalaxyCon is, adding more locations. Went to one in Austin last year before last, and actually the first big con, or at least one of the first big cons I went to was at GalaxyCon in Louisville, Kentucky, and that thing was really, really well laid out. Of course, that's prior to the COVID bump, and prices changed and all that. It's kind of almost it's weird to say like 2019 was a different world, but it was. You still get a lot of people to sign for free and all that kind of good stuff. Now everybody wants to
get a sketch for $60, and I'm talking about a really good sketch. I'm not talking about a remark. You get a really good sketch for $60. So yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Hey, appreciate you stopping in, Nola.
Yes, Nola. Be safe, man.
But it's not quite that easy anymore. So no. I've got the let's see if I can do it this way here. As far as the guest, I mean, Charlie Cox was probably their headliner. He and Giancarlo. How you say it is Esposito, but what's it?
Esposito, Giancarlo Esposito. You would say they either they are the headliners, but Jonathan Isaacs had the longest line.
Okay. So
I
who
was
is
there to
Jonathan?
witness that. Somebody told me he was at the very top, right next to Charlie Cox, but I think he played in Lord of the Rings or something. But I'm not 100% sure all of his accolades, but his line was ridiculous. Giancarlo didn't really have a big line. Emily Swallow, who's also in the Mandalorian, didn't have a big line. Who else? Kind of those bigger names. Charlie Cox. His line fluctuated. So if you yeah, him right there. Yeah.
Jason
It was
Isaac.
like yeah. Oh, Jason Isaac. Jason Isaac. So I know he was in, I think, Lord of the Rings, and I can't tell what else. But
See, White Lotus, Harry Potter.
oh, it was Harry Potter. I'm sorry, not Lord of the Rings. Harry Potter. That's why his line was so long.
Yeah.
People were telling me like, "Oh man, he was in Harry Potter." I said, "He was in Harry Potter." I was like, "What?"
Yeah. So like they've added all these. Like they got one in Raleigh, St.
Yeah, that's
Louis,
next week. This week I should say.
all these
The
different
one in
ones.
Raleigh it's literally this weekend.
Well, some of these places like Esposito, him and Swaller both are like at a lot of cons, So, imagine that some of these longer lines are people that they don't see all that often. But yeah, I mean, you had several, ex Star Trek alumni. Of course, John Wesley Shipp, The Flash, or Joey Fatone. He could have danced and sung for you, just not danced as much as he used to. Phil Lamar, who's voiced acted in a lot of stuff. Jodie Benson, the Little Mermaid from back in the day. I guess he played, sung Prince Eric or whatever. So, they had a good mix of voice actors too. So this creator list, and this was, again, the thing that just surprised me so much for a first-time con, Jeff DeCal, who's done some, incredible covers. Some of them there listed out,
which I didn't have any available to sign, and I didn't feel like cracking a couple of them, so I just left them alone. So
I have a Shadow Man #1, and cover. It's a glass cover, but he signed it for me at Heroes last year. But I mean, that What If Magic cover is one of those. That's an early Riri appearance, isn't it?
Yeah. I have that one in a 9.8. That's why I didn't want to.
Oh, yeah.
It's a darker cover. If I would have had a raw copy, I would have definitely got it signed. But I was like, I don't want to crack it. And surprisingly, probably going to touch on it. CGC was there, so
yeah. That's one thing I was going to mention too. Which, I don't know, was it the last Wizard World before they changed the name? Like there was nobody there for CGC. Is that the year that Tyler Kirkham was there?
I thought Wizard World always had somebody there.
Maybe.
But I think Fan Expo, when they took over,
maybe that's why
they didn't have anybody. They didn't have anybody there. They only had facilitators. But yeah, I think I want to say not Fan Expo, Wizard World did, but maybe the last year they didn't. But yeah, they had them here this year. Yeah.
So Christopher Priest, of course, has written, ton load of stuff that he's famous for. Or what was his original name? Osley Jonathan, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
No. Okay, I figured you knew. So he changed his name at one point, and so Christopher Priest is what most people know him by today. But when he started writing, he had a different name. I don't remember the reasoning behind it. There was some reason. I've heard it before. I just can't remember what it was off the top of my head. Let's see. James Owsley.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, and actually, when I got him to sign a book for me last year or year before last, he signed it, James Owsley. But he signs other stuff, Christopher Priest. So it's like whatever he did on the book is the way he signs it by. So real nice guy, fun to talk to. Knows a lot.
I saw somebody sitting there talking to him for a good little while on Sunday.
And that's like the great thing about cons that are not well attended. It's not great business practice, mind you, but I mean, as far as for people like ourselves that just want to go talk and get stuff signed, it's great. You got all the time in the world. Tim Jacobs did the R.L. Stein books. Ben Templesmith, Bob McLeod. Just saw him. Got a couple things done from him in Heroes, but inked, a load of stuff. Steve Orlando. I never even saw him at his table.
I didn't see him at his table either. He had signage and he had all kind of stuff laid out, but he was not there. every time I passed, and he wasn't the only one. There was a couple of people that had stuff up, and I didn't see them until literally I was about to leave on Sunday. And I was like, man, where were you? Like, and that's Gavin Guidry. He was one of them the whole Sunday. I didn't see him until 4 p.m.
So I seen him Saturday. I'm trying to remember if I saw him Friday, but I seen him Saturday, and I'm thinking, because I'm guessing that some of them, like if they didn't have a lot to do and they had somewhere to go or they could go, they just like, I'm out. Of course, Dexter Vines, Southern guy from Atlanta, he was there. Kevin Nolan, of course, you mentioned Gavin, John Beatty, Kevin McGuire, Bob Hall. Now, this was one that I had not seen before, was John Jackson Miller, which wrote a lot of stuff for any Star Wars fans out there, which I know he's done Star Trek too, if that counts, right? But, he's done a lot of Star Wars stuff, and I had gotten some of the old books signed, picked up some more from him. Already mentioned Assad Ribic. So I found out that Assad was setting up his Travel Across America thing that he's doing. And so New Orleans was the first stop. So him and his wife are driving to San Diego. So that's
and it makes sense. It makes sense why they came, because they probably never been in New Orleans, and they probably just came to visit the city. And I want to say they are very European.
Yeah,
they have very thick accents. Very thick. They remind me of I want to say New Orleans or Southern Louisiana 30 years ago, when they still had that kind of Cajun Creole slang. A lot of people had that kind of talk like that and had that really thick. You're like, man, what are they saying? You're like, oh, they're saying this. That's how, because I know I was talking to his wife and she didn't know what I was saying. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I felt bad, but I was like, I don't know what you're saying either.
I'm talking English. What are you saying? But yeah, so Christopher Sprouse has done a lot of stuff. He did those lightsaber variants a few years ago for all the Star Wars titles. I've got him to sign those. He's free signatures, so like he signed all of them back then for free. Still's free. Now Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, very big comic veteran in the industry. If you bought anything DC back in the day, as far as toys or kind of advertisements, you probably know his art. It seems like it's only in the last few years he's really started making this resurgence on getting out there. And there's a guy that's helping him sell some of his art. And I'll show something I picked up from him a little later on, but had a nice time talking with him. Megan Hutchinson, isn't that Donnie Cates' ex-wife?
Yeah. That's what somebody told me that when I was walking around a convention. She wasn't there, and he said, "Oh, Megan Hutchinson is there."
She's another one I didn't see the whole time.
Yeah, I saw her Sunday. It was Sunday afternoon. But when I walked through, I was on Bleeker's church show while doing a walkthrough and everything, and I didn't see her during that walkthrough, but they saw her name and the board and everything, and I was like, but I just saw her towards the end of Sunday. It was so crazy. This is how, and I don't know if you noticed, like when people left their table, like at other bigger conventions, they don't just leave stuff laying there.
Right.
At New Orleans, like people left art books, and they're just like they left, and you're like, you're just flipping through it, and you're like nobody's around.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking in my head, and I hate to say this, I just want people to be aware. New Orleans is like any other major city. Say it like that.
Yeah.
But if somebody would have took that art book and ran, they wouldn't have got it back.
Right.
unless somebody is desperate and starts to try to sell it immediately, like somebody who's really amped up on needs the money. But if you just walked out with it and kept it for 20 years, who's gonna be, you know what I mean? Like, it was just weird how people just left, or not even that type of stuff. They left like books, like just books they could sign. Like, you can't trace those back. Just raw books just laying there. And then if you're a person who's naive, they might think it's free because they see other tables have stuff for free. You could just take, and you see comics just lying there. You're like, oh, this is so nice, and you just take it. It was just weird seeing that because I was like, that never happened at Dallas. That wouldn't even happen at New Orleans Fan Expo.
That was strange because I walked up to Declan Shelby's table. I went through. He had 2 portfolios there. I went through every single page. Not a single person was in there and sitting in his chair.
Yeah, I did that at Asad Ribic's table. But he was going, and the guy, I guess is the dealer, he wasn't there. And I'm going through the books, and then I went through at least one of them. I think maybe halfway through the second one, the guy pops up, I guess, who runs the art stuff. He pops up, and then he goes, "Oh, is this book yours?" And I was like, "Oh no, somebody I think must have got all those signed by him, and they were packing up, and he must have forgot it." I said, "I didn't even notice it was right there." And he's, "Oh, all right." So I was like, but yeah, it was weird that very expensive stuff. Let me say that we're just lying around.
Yeah. So Matt, which is the younger guy that has the tattoo sleeve, that's Assad's art rep. And so he had Assad just did a cover for G.I. Joe, and I forget the other comic, but he had the covers there. And so he was showing me those were under the table, but Matt had a lot of other stuff there from his website, DeTulio Art Collective. But I guess they think, well, we're coming to the South. Everybody's honest down here, right? Yeah, no, not so much.
I would just be aware of your surroundings. That's all I can say.
So I fully expected with like Jock, okay, if there's going to be somebody that's going to have a long line, here's the guy that's going to be it. Obviously,
especially since he just broke a record. He didn't, but his art did very well.
Yeah, this Detective Comics cover that is showing here, the original just sold at Heritage for quite a sum of money, and you think, hey, somebody's want to come here get some of that sign. I've got one, but it's like you were saying earlier, mine's slabbed. I didn't want to crack it open. So I walked straight up to him. He signed something. No art portfolio, no nothing. Had a couple books on the table. That was it. It's like people came, but it didn't seem like they were coming to do business. It was kind of strange.
No, yeah. Well, I don't think he was one of the people, like you said. I don't think he came to do business. I think he just came. Assad actually, I think, came to do business, but they also were probably visiting the city for the first time.
Yeah.
So it was like a mixture, which is the smart thing to do because you never know, you might sell something. But yeah, or I also thought about this when I didn't see an art portfolio with Jock. He might be ticked off because when I found out how much he sold that Joker piece for originally, so he might be not too happy that 15 years later it sold for $250,000. So yeah.
So he's got an art rep. And so maybe his art rep has all this stuff. But normally these guys that have art reps, they still have a little something they'll carry with them to shows and stuff. But yeah, so Dan Waters, he's done a lot of writing. I know most recently probably is the Destro miniseries for the Energon universe, which is what I got him to sign. What's going on, Michael? Impressive Comics in the building, as well as Kenneth Bird. What is happening? So I got him he wasn't there Friday, but I picked him up Saturday real easy. John Dale, I think like what we were talking, and he does live in Slidell. You were right about that.
Yeah.
I knew he was a local flair, but he was actually the first person I bought actually bought 2 of them, published pages from. And so which was strange. So back then, he was like super talkative, like blah, blah, blah. Every show I've ever met him at, he was like that. This show, he was talking to somebody else, across the table. Not one time said, "Hey, if you got any questions while you're looking through that art portfolio, let me know." Or if you got any questions, need anything signed, anything like that, nothing. So
You want to. So we had the opposite effect with John Dell. So when I went to his table and looking through stuff. He stopped and talked, and then when I told him I was local, his eyes perked up. He got like really, and so we started talking like, and it was like talking like we're friends, and
okay,
because we're local, and talking about different areas and stuff like that, so yeah, it was. I guess when I told him that, he was happy or excited. I don't know. It was strange, but when I looked at his art portfolio, I was like, man, I wish you had like an Instagram or something, because I would love to start buy a piece here, a piece there, every time I get some extra money, because he had some nice art pieces, Superior Spider-Man stuff. I didn't see if I wanted to ask, but I didn't want him to take. I wanted to see if he had some Young Avengers stuff. So I know he has it, but I didn't, but he had some good paid, and they were very reasonable price. And the inflation didn't hit him as much as other people, because he had old stickers under the new stickers, and you could kind of see them. So I saw like a sticker that said 150, and he went to 200. So it's like all right. So he didn't go 150 to 500. So yeah. So and he had stuff with Bagley. So I was like, I really wanted to get some of his stuff, but it wasn't the right time for me to get it.
right.
So I should have got his email or something. That's what I should have did. I didn't think about it because he's not on Instagram, which you would think, because so many art people are on Instagram, so it's so easy. You take a picture, you post. Take a picture, you post.
Right.
Yeah, but he's not on there. So maybe after this, maybe I could find it some other way, because he is, like you said, he is local. It's an hour drive.
Yeah, if you end up buying something from him and get in touch with him, I would suggest that you kind of meet him in person. Might be best. But I'll tell you something about that later. But anyway, no. So yeah, it was well laid out. There was a lot of stuff, and all kinds are this way, that everything is not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so if it's got a little something for everybody, that's kind of a good business decision. And as long as it's like laid out to where like those other somebody's, like the cosplay stuff, it's all like over here. So we're not kind of tripping over each other. It makes more sense when it's laid out that way. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like they had a lot of different stuff for everybody here. A good first time showing. What were your thoughts on that?
Good. I'll say good first time showing. The thing, because I brought my daughter. I know how old your son is, but I brought my daughter. My daughter looks older than what her age is, so it's that aspect. I would say they need to work on that, because I don't know. What I saw was, like, I think 9 years old and under were free. And I think I didn't see any like kids pricing, that are above that. Maybe maybe I just missed it, but I know me and my wife didn't see it. That's the one thing I would say maybe to work on, and that can, like Heroes, for instance. Heroes is a kid up to the age of 17 or 16.
Yeah,
it's free if paying adult. Wizard World, but Fan Expo is $5, I think, for a kid up to a certain age. I can't remember the age, but I want to say a teenager, I think, is the age, or it might be 12 or 13. But it's still just $5. That is a big factor for somebody like me, and probably even yourself, and that your kid might want to come. I don't want to pay full adult prices for my daughter who wants to come, because what happened when we went, I spent money. We spent money. She spent a lot of money. She spent I had to stop her because it was money from her birthday, but she spent $50, and she could have bought at least $100 worth of stuff. But I told her she only had a limit of $50, and she spent the whole $50. She and she wanted to buy more. And if I would have had to pay the $100 and whatever it was dollars for the ticket, that $50 probably went down to $25 or even less. So that's one thing I would say. That's the only thing that I would say tweak on. But the layout was good. The AC was working well. The environment was well. I always liked the New Orleans Convention Center because if nobody's ever been there, depending on where you come from, but you can avoid walking too much outside. If you come from they have a Riverwalk, you can walk through the Riverwalk if you park at the Hilton, or if you stay at the Hilton, you walk through the Riverwalk. They got a little spot where you have to walk outside, like literally a little spot, then you're back inside. So it's not much of outside stuff you have to worry about if you go to that convention center. So I like that. It wasn't all the way at the end like a lot of comic conventions like to go. It was basically the second, I think, hall might have been, or the third hall. Yeah. It was really close walk, wasn't too far you have to walk. The people who were working there weren't rude. That's because I've noticed that at other conventions. You're standing somewhere, you got to get out of here. You can't be there.
Oh, you mean like Fan Expo Dallas?
Yeah. What are you doing here? You're like, yeah, like you're on a tier. What is wrong with you? Are you somebody that's working for the artist or the writer that I'm going to spend money with? Don't be rude. Like you lose money that way.
Like Greg Capullo.
So I didn't have that experience. Everybody I met was super nice. I asked somebody for like area. They're like, "Oh, you can go this way." Like I was trying to find the shop to buy T-shirts because it's another thing about to say. She was like, "You can go this way, or they have one on the second floor." I was like, I'm just impressed that she knew and was very nice about it. And then when I went to the shop to buy stuff, I don't know if you went there just to look. The T-shirts were very affordable. If you wanted to buy merch, they had clearance merch. T-shirts, GalaxyCon. There's this, it's basically a little picture where it says GalaxyCon was $10. Like, I don't care. I haven't been to one convention where I found a T-shirt under $25.
Right.
So they had the New Orleans themed shirt was only $15. So I was very impressed with so I bought 3 T-shirts because I bought one T-shirt from HeroesCon. It basically equaled those 3 T-shirts. So that was very good on their part. So and they had other stuff that you could buy there. They had signed stuff. Like say somebody you wanted to meet, what ended up not being there, but they had signed stuff from that person. You might not have the experience of meeting them, but at least you can have something signed. So they did have that at the shop. So that was nice to see. And then they had an auction, but I didn't go to it on Sunday. I didn't know what the auction was for or what it was be about, but I know they had an auction Sunday of some signed stuff or other stuff as well. So that was actually cool. They should do that maybe on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, I mean
that's Sunday.
Yeah, Saturday. I mean, you're gonna have well attended. I mean, because like you said, Sunday is always the least attended day of any con, and that's the reason why the ticket prices are cheaper. Yeah, like you were saying with them not having to walk as far down. So normally place I park is a little bitty park, where that little house the little tree that's got the little house in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
That little parking spot on the other side is where I always park every year when I go to Fan Expo. And so I went to park there and everybody had figured it out and wanted this one this year because they were up closer to that direction than what they are with Fan Expo. And I will say that you better pay for your parking because there was a truck with a covered trailer that was booted when I went to leave Friday. So they weren't playing. But no, what you were saying with the ticket price makes plenty of sense because if you need to encourage, you as a business owner needs to encourage people to bring their kids because those kids are like my kid was like, hey, I got to buy something. Just because you walk somewhere don't mean you got to buy something.
Yeah.
We know that as adults, but kids don't get that concept. And so a lot of times you'll buy them something or let them spend their money just because they're there. And so, like you said, if the price was more expensive, it becomes cost prohibitive. And as far as the auction goes, I know one of the things at least that they were auctioning off were the little signs that they had behind there. They were signed by the celebrity. And so it was going to the Alan Bellman Scholarship Foundation or whatever. And so Alan Bellman, who was a penciler and inker for Timely Comics, it's kind of a full circle thing for me, because the first time and the last time that I got to meet Alan Bellman was at GalaxyCon in Louisville in 2019. And that was in November 2019. In February of 2020, he passed away. So I got to meet him and his wife, like I said, for the first and last time at a GalaxyCon, and then come, these 6 years later that they're raising money for his scholarship fund. So that was neat. But I figured that they would at least get some participation in person, better in-person participation, if it was done on a Saturday.
If it was done on a Saturday, and you don't have to. And it's so, I guess they're doing it because they want to give, like you said, those signage, because it's the end of the con, right. It's better to do it that, but you can still do it Saturday and just have it picked up on Sunday.
Right.
It's to have a bit, because I would have probably tried to stay or try to figure out a way to stay if it was a Saturday, just to see what's besides that, what other stuff they might have up. But I'm not going to do it on a Sunday. It's like, even if I was on vacation and I'm not leaving until the Monday, I wouldn't have did it on a Sunday. So like, and I live here and I didn't do it on a Sunday. So yeah, like Saturday, just have people pick up the stuff on Sunday at the end of convention. That's all they have to do, like, to figure that. That's little tweaks, but I overall enjoyed it. I'm happy that they are coming back. It's the first one here. Some learning experiences, I would say. They ran out of 3-day passes. I have to tell you that.
Oh yeah.
Me and my daughter had a 3-day pass, but we didn't go on Friday. She was in a boost program for school, and I was working and all kind of stuff. So we didn't go on Friday. But when I came Saturday, we ran out of the 3-day passes, so we'll just this will work. So they gave me a 2-day pass, and I'm like, okay, I know it'll work, but like, you can't run out on something that's purchased. Like, how do you run out of something, and then it wasn't that to me, it wasn't that overflowing of a crowd to run out of something that was purchased. That's just my thought on that too. That was kind of, I was like, huh.
Somebody left the extra box at the last con or something.
Yeah.
When I went to Austin, so I was only going to be there for that Friday and Saturday, and so it was cheaper for me to buy, the way they had it priced. It was cheaper for me to buy Friday and Saturday than to buy a 3-day pass.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So I go up there Friday. I mean, it's packed out, and we were out there in the heat. Wrapped around that building, and so I got in to get my ticket or my pass, and I said, "Hey, I've got a Friday and a Saturday pass." They said, "Well, you're going to have to come back Saturday to get your Saturday one." Why? You got the Saturday passes right there. Why would you not go? You see it on the paper. Why would you not go ahead and give it to me now versus I'm going to be an extra person in your line tomorrow? So, but sometimes that's not fair.
And that's something that can be worked. They need to be worked on, because I know you probably saw it on Saturday. Nobody was checking passes.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they're not. You got what they call like you got little security guards. They're not worried. They just worried if you have a pass.
Right.
So you could have. My daughter had her pass under her sweater and walked in with me. They didn't even check.
Mm-hmm.
So to do what you said to do that was kind of like, really?
And sometimes that's not on the fault of the organization as much as it is just that particular person probably didn't know any better, and they wanted to act like they knew, but they really didn't know.
No, because if you paid for both, I'm giving you both right now. Why would I make you stand in line to get another pass when I see that you paid for it?
Right.
Like, here.
So
but I do get you, like you said about the 2, they do have the 2-day. Like I said, like you just said, I do like that. If you're only going to go a couple of days, they do offer discounts for if you want to come Friday, Saturday, or if you want to come Saturday, Sunday. I did when you mentioned that I did like that aspect because not everybody likes to go 3 days, and usually the 3-day passes are the best deal. But on this case, this convention, 2-day passes were actually the best deal if you only want to go 2 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Michael says Comic Palooza was like that too. Celebs were there signing on Friday, but we'll let you know if you paid for Saturday. Sunday.
Oh wow.
Mm.
Oh, that's yeah. I've had that experience at China Expo.
Well, yeah. So, what about pickups? Any pickups that you had at the show?
So they only had they had 1.5 comic dealers there. I was gonna say 2.
Right. Yeah.
They had 1.5 comic dealers there, and down here they don't have dollar boxes. They don't exist. So I had to dig through a dollar box and I actually found some stuff. Nothing crazy. These might be $5 books, but I was happy to find them for $1. I found like 4 books. All of them were keys. So it was actually cool to see some of this. I remember when this book got hot. It was on the top 10 list at one point. Avenger Forever issue 3. I know some first appearances on here. Nothing crazy. It might be $5 or more book, but I'll pick it up for $1, especially when they're near mint. Avengers versus X-Men is always a good title, and if you see that $1, then pick it up because eventually they're going to come. But this is actually the issue where Namor floods Wakanda, I believe, or declares war. It was one of the issues. Can't remember which one. It's like 2 issues. One he declares war, another one he floods them. So that's in this issue, and I remember from the cover. So that was cool to find for $1. And then I saw some, I think Kang related books, Kang, Conqueror, but so I picked up these 2. It's Avengers, $293 for $1, and they're like near mint minus conditions for $1. So I was like, all right, I'll take them. I know there's like a few first appearances in there. That was my biggest digging. They had some big books on the wall. I didn't do any GPA comping to see if they were like great deals or if you could have got great deals because I wasn't in the. Oh, that is a reptile. All right, that's what it is. Reptile Kang.
Okay.
But yeah, on this book, and it's something else too. But yeah, I didn't look at purchasing any big slabs. The half of comic dealers spot had a nice it had first appearance of Constantine, the Swamp Thing 37, I believe. It was double signed, but the slab was cracked horribly, so you had to get it recased, and most likely CGC is going to regrade it because it was cracked so bad. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to press it, go through the whole process. Yeah, I think it is the Council of Kangs on that one because there was like a couple of things with Kang. He didn't want to budge on $200. Like he had it at $200, which was a good price, but with the extra stuff I had to do, it wasn't a great price, so I just passed on it. I said I'll do $150. He said $200 was like a great deal, and I was like, yeah, not when I got to put more money into it. Like I got to put $50 to $75 into it because I can't keep it in this shattered case. But yeah, so I didn't. I wish I could have. I wish you'd have worked. But somebody told me. Somebody said, well, maybe he just didn't. He thought losing money that weekend was good. I was like, maybe. And I was like, but I did go to Vernon. I asked Vernon for a remark. I asked for one character, but if people ever met Vernon, I think his last name was Smith, Vernon Smith. Did Turtle stuff and Star Trek. So I did pick that up.
Oh yeah, classic animated look of Bebop and Rocksteady.
So
he's a local guy, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that did the. He did this book.
Yes.
I picked that up at some show he was at a while back.
Yeah. So I mean, and then the price he gave me was an amazing price. It just tells you how this convention. I probably could have got more done, but I didn't decide to do this until Sunday. But I mean, that's pretty good. And Sunday I think it took like a couple of hours to do it. Because he said an hour, but it ended up being a couple hours because I think he left a couple times. But yeah, that's all I had. That's all I had as far as pickups. Nothing else. I figure out to work on this little jam. This will be a little jam piece. We would slowly work on and get some more villains. I already got Bebop and Rocksteady. Maybe I'll get was it Leatherhead or somebody else.
Yeah. Well, if you got a lot of those animated folks will come around or live around New Orleans, so it could be an easy pickup if you go on that route.
Oh yeah. So it's something it's not something I gotta get done immediately. I can slowly work on, especially since it's just remarks.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to another convention and was it Bishop who worked on some TMNT stuff, maybe I can get a little remark from him or something. Some people who worked on Turtle stuff, Sajad, stuff like that, because he always goes to New Orleans Fan Expo. So it'd be cool to get something maybe done from him in a little remark style. And to me, I found out especially how you were talking about how prices have gone up. That's a good way to get some art done from some people. Because typically you're not going to spend more than $50 for a remark. And they come out really good. I mean, I don't know if I showed you this one from Heroes, even though we're talking about GalaxyCon, but this is one I got from Heroes. So they didn't ink it this pencil, but it still came up really good,
So I see Scott Shaw and I see Ron Wilson.
Kerry Gamble.
Okay.
Down here. To me, he did the best one.
And who did the Human Torch?
It was Mike DiCarlo.
Okay. Yeah.
And so
you just walked all around around the 4C table.
Yeah, well, I gave it to Kerry Gamble, the guy who was working with Kerry Gamble, and I said, hey, I want to get this done. Fantastic Four, all four, little remark size, and I just went down the line and worked on pricing so I could know how much I'm spending. And then once we got that locked down, I said, here you go, Kerry, and here's the money for him, and just get everybody else to do it, and I'll pay when it's done. So I initially paid the first person, then once it was all done, I got it paid up. But yeah, I thought that was a cool way because they're all sitting right there,
right?
And take bigger pieces take longer, and I figured a nice little headshot, the size of probably was it like a little card would be perfect, So that's kind of like my idea process of doing some of the stuff, and I think that would, this is an idea I thought people might, be like, oh, I don't want to get a full piece is $150 or 250 or 300 because I've seen some prices, especially at this, con, which you would think it should be a lot cheaper. Honestly, I would have probably got some stuff done if it was a little bit cheaper, but I can't. There's no line, and I'm going to pay $350 for a headshot.
Right. What happened to supply and demand?
Like, how about $150? Especially since it's a sketchbook and not a blank cover.
That's the kind of the problem with guarantees. I don't know if we talked about it before we went live or after, but we're talking about some of these people were probably on some kind of guarantee, and they're like, yeah, screw it, I'm not going to hit that guarantee. I'll just make the minimum here and enjoy the time I'm here. Some of them are like, yeah, screw it. Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get paid minimum anyway. That's Mr. Monopoly guy right there is from Scott Shaw.
Yeah.
The guy that you, one of the people you had do your deal. Cali Comics. Yeah. What's up?
What's up, Callie? That was my idea with the remark. Like, I'll still get, depending on price and stuff like that and availability, I'll do whatever that is, but I know if people are pricey, I think a remark is the best way to go, because you can still get something done by them, and it is really good quality for a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, especially if like it's like with the high prices are, but also if that artist, you like them and you like to have something by them, but you don't love them, if that makes sense. And so,
Yeah.
you hate to put out all that money for an artist like that's not in your top 10 list or whatever. What's up, Carl? Mr. Energon, Mr. Superman. I got a couple of books.
Make yourself big. The stuff I got signed, I gave it to CGC, so I don't have nothing to show signed.
So I mentioned earlier that I got to talk to Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, and my son was with me rather. And so Jose just gets up in the middle of the conversation, walks over and just starts saying something. And the guy that's helping him out, he whispers something to him. And so he comes over to me, he says, he's drawing something for your son. Now, my son didn't know that. He's just walked over there and watched him. So I have a picture of him watching Jose draw this for him. And
that's cool.
And so I got him to make it out to Jace, which is my youngest son's name. And so he got that. Now, I got this from Jose. I eyed it at Heroes Con, but he was in a different setup at Heroes Con. I forget who it was he was by, but it was like one of those people that was really visited. So it was kind of hard to go through his portfolio without getting in the way. So this is from the Joker 80th anniversary issue that he done. This is pencils only. The inks were done digitally by an artist, I think in Brazil. But I thought it was hilarious with the little Joker binoculars, Joker in the Bermuda shorts, got a nice Joker head sketch right there. And so this was for the 80th anniversary short story that he did there. So he had 2 pages counting this one that he had there. This one was a little bit less and just as good. So we went with that one. Now, this is one that I've been eyeing from on Matt DiTullio's website, which I mentioned earlier, DiTullioArtCollective.com. And so he reps Esad Ribic and also Simone Bianchi and Simone DeMeo. So he had this one. I think this was his. He had bought it from Simone. And this is from Uncanny X-Force, the Fear Itself one-shot. And so I loved how he's got the whole page laid out. You got Phantom X, you got Psylocke, you got Phantom X's ship right here, and you know how he's got these colors with the purple lips and the purple eyes. Phantom X's blue eyes adding contrast. Just was a really nice page. Unfortunately, I mean it says unfortunately, but it's on an oversized board, so it doesn't fit. I have an oversized art portfolio it'll have to go in. But those were the 2 big things that I got from there. I did get Esad to sign this for me. This was a page that I had gotten on Comic Link last year from Cable 86 back in the 90s. And so this was a page that he had done. So his signature, this is his signature right there.
Yeah. I'll say this: he was fun to chat with, but his signature is like he's a famous sports athlete.
Right.
It's like very, very no thought, very simple. It's like, are you signing for the NBA or are you an artist?
So Liam Sharp, his signature is like that. It's this little particular little line that he does and stuff. I mean, he's obviously practiced it. I'm sure in 5th grade he wasn't signing his signature that way, but his is similar to that. So, but yeah, and like I said, I got a few other books. Since Carl's in the room, I did get my Destro 1 signed by Dan Waters. But yeah, other than that, just kind of an enjoyable time, short drive for me. Obviously a shorter drive for you, and get done, move on. It was some of the bigger cons are obviously hectic because especially if you're traveling, you want to get your money's worth, all that kind of stuff. So it's nice when you're basically local and can just take your leisurely time. So.
Yeah, I mean, I do recommend this con or Fan Expo to people, and it's mainly because of the city. If you've never been to New Orleans, you could do two things, and knock out two birds with one stone.
Mhm.
You could visit the city and go to a con that's not going to be overcrowded like some of these other conventions. The Fan Expo does get kind of packed on a Saturday, but besides that, on the Friday, very maneuverable. This show might grow and be like a Fan Expo, or it might be great on a Friday and great on a Sunday, but Saturday might be jam packed. But it's still a good time to go visit New Orleans, learn about the city if you want to play. If there's a place on your bucket list, then you can knock out a convention.
Right.
I mean, I've been pushing it for a long time. And it's not because I want people to come down here for me. I want you to visit the city. Oh man, I would love to come to New Orleans. Well, then you can go to this convention and go see the city. Like, come on a Thursday, you can do a little tour or whatever, walk around, go to the convention on Friday, go somewhere. You can hit up so many food places too. Oh man, I would love to. Yeah, you can do a lot. When I took Yahweh, Yahweh came down for the first time. He might have been before New Orleans, but it seemed like he'd never been because he had so much fun. And we went to Deanie's Seafood. He's like, "This is the best seafood." and I'm trying I would call myself a professional or pro going to certain food places that I've been to, and I take people and I told him, I said, "Hey, when you go to this seafood place, do not get the full platter." I said, me and my wife are going to share a half platter. So that's what I'm telling him this. He still gets, I don't even think I think he still gets a full platter, if I'm not mistaken, because he had so much food, but it was good. Like, he was like, oh man, it was so good. But I was like, it's like, dude, but he's like, when he got full, he's like, oh, I got so much left. It's like, I told you, don't get a full platter. I said, we got a half and we're good. He's like, I sure got the half. I said, yes. Yeah, but he had a great time. He was gonna come to this convention because, like I said, he loves coming out here. But he had to leave for a vacation on Monday, so he's like, "Nah, I'll be dead tired and going on vacation exhausted. That's kind of not a great vacation."
Sure. Start off.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a city I would tell people to go to, especially if you can knock a convention out if you're into that. So.
Oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's easy for people that are local to anywhere. In this case, you're talking about New Orleans. Everybody's like, because I've had company conventions and they announce them. They're like, we're going to New Orleans. And everybody's like, whoa, that's awesome. And I'm like, what? I could go in down there anytime I want to. So anytime you're local to anything, you have a tendency to take it for granted. But
yeah, my wife tells me all the time when she gets people who haven't certain conventions come here and they've never been, they have like you said, oh, they're going to New Orleans, we're doing this, and she's like, but when you really think about it, they do have a lot of unique things there that you can't do in other cities. And drinking, people are like, oh man, they shut down drinking on Sunday, and in New Orleans they were like, Sunday they just double fist.
it's another day.
It's another day.
Yeah.
He's like, somebody asked me one time, I said, when does the bars close in New Orleans? When it's not busy. That's when it's good. Like, if people are still buying and the crowd is still going, they are open 24 hours. Now, if they all of a sudden the bar has 50 people and then it goes down to 2 people, they'll be like, all right, we're closing in so much time, because that's when they close, because when they're not busy.
Right.
But yeah, so people don't get used to it. You never experienced that. It's a different experience, especially when I told people, because I almost got in trouble in a couple of cities, like go my alcohol. I have a little martini or something like this. Like I'm going to walk. Hey man, you can't do that. I was like, huh? Oh, my bad. I forgot. I'm not back home.
Yeah, right.
I don't want y'all to arrest me. I'm so used to this. I can just walk around with a drink in my hand.
So how bad was it taking Paul to various bars? That's what I need to know.
I didn't take Paul anywhere. Paul blames me for stuff that Yahweh told him, and I was like, I think it was Yahweh. And like I didn't tell you directions. Like, I never told you directions. Like, so Paul is his own character. I'll say that. blames you for stuff and you're not even involved with, but he bought a hamburger from a place from a guy, and the hamburger was called the Superdome Burger, and he asked the guy, do you have an Astro Dome Burger? And the guy was confused, and he kept saying it, and I told the guy, I'm sorry, he's from Texas. And he goes, oh, okay. Yeah, because I was like, he's starting to make the guy angry.
In his mind, it was a funny joke.
Yes. And I was like, don't. I'm always like, you don't mess with certain people. You don't mess with people who handle your food. You don't mess with people that handle your medication. And I think it's something else you don't. But I know those are the main two. You don't mess with those two people.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So yeah, but I try to get Paul to come back down here too, but he's always like, oh, I'm always doing something. I say, dude, it's like a 5-hour drive. You can drive and actually leave and go back that evening. You can come to the convention and get in when it opens at 10, stay till about 5 o'clock, and you'll get home by 10.
Well, so that's what I told him. I said, I kept asking him, was he coming? And he said, nah, man, I ain't coming. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But no, I appreciate you jumping on and talking about some your thoughts on GalaxyCon. And I dropped the link in the chat if somebody's watching on my end and are not already subbed up to you, then to check you out. What you doing on your channel upcoming that folks need to know about?
I'm actually gonna film. I got some Marvel cards that I'm gonna unbox that I got, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna film some Marvel cards. Besides that, I'm waiting on CGC, so I'll have a lot of CGC unboxing eventually. Because if anybody knows how CGC does it, they'll get you all your books, and I'll say it like this: they'll get books at different times. Like, oh, this one received, but then they'll charge you all at the same time. And then you'll get like a box every other day. So it's weird how that happens. They call it money all at once, but then sporadically you'll get. So I'll probably be doing that for at least 3 weeks. Starting probably next week, getting stuff back. Like every week or every couple days in that week, I'll have stuff back because that's just how they work. So I have like CGC unboxing, and then me and Boston Chris are gonna do a show called Graphic Content, and because he's going to Terrificon, so he'll probably talk more on that end about what's he expecting at Terrificon, what's his game plan, because it's a lot of artists that he met. He didn't go to on Heroes Con because he knew he was going to meet him at Terrificon. Now, it's always a gamble because we're humans. Yeah. So, but we're going to talk about that and probably Superman and probably some, our anticipation for Fantastic Four. So I don't know if we'll do it this week, but that's definitely coming soon. So that's all I got.
Well, good deal, folks. If you already stayed around this long, appreciate you. And obviously you like crazy comic book talk. So go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button to both of our channels, as well as bell notification, so you will know when this stuff goes up that we've mentioned. Also, if you want some supplies for your collectibles, you can visit bcwsupplies.com and use the coupon code SCG to save yourself 10% on your order. Or if you'd like to get some good coffee to go with your comics, comicsoncoffee.com, use the coupon code SCG to save yourself 15% on that right there. So thanks for joining us, folks. Until next time, keep reading and keep collecting. Adios.